Good morning, students. Welcome to a new class of your software engineering. We have already covered Unit 1 and 2. Today we will discuss Unit 3. In Unit 3, the topic you have to cover is requirements analysis and specification. What is the requirement of this topic? Because it is in the second stage of your software development process. In the second stage, you have to collect the requirements, analyze the requirements, specify it in a document so that it can be well utilized for developing the further requirements of the system. As per the information mentioned in the specification document, the development of the software carried out. And when your requirements are not collected properly and not specified properly, what may be the difficulty? Already we have discussed. Without proper analysis, plan, specification, your requirements will be incomplete. It will not be properly reflected. What operation really to be carried out, that cannot be identified. Got it? So let us come to the requirement analysis and specification part. In this Unit 3, we will discuss about different concepts like your requirements gathering and analysis. Also, we'll discuss about software requirement specification document. We will discuss about types of requirements. When your software requirement specification document is prepared, in which the information mentioned as per the requirements really to be carried out or to be reflected inside the system. So we must have to know the type of requirements. The type of requirements are highly essential to be identified. So we have discussed as per the topic mentioned in the Unit 3. We'll discuss about decision tree and decision table. This is first part of your Unit 3. In the second part of your Unit 3, the third phase of the software development process, that is software design, is to be discussed. The software design is a very important phase in which your structural diagram or structural representation of the information to be executed are mentioned. And the structure contains the flow of information and the mode in which your data will be executed. According to the design, the development and further actions can be carried out. The design provides a clear layout of the system so that you can easily understand the information flow from one process to other process. Regarding the software design concepts, we have already discussed in Unit 1. The design provides a outlook of the system requirement actions. What exactly the requirements are, accordingly the processes will be defined, how the processes will be carried out, in which order the processes will be carried out, and what will be their inputs and outputs. Those we can reflect in the design part. Got it? In software design, we'll discuss about structured analysis and structured design. What are the requirement of those and how the structured analysis and structured design is carried out, how the structured design and analysis represented for the coders and testers to understand about the system. Those we'll discuss. We'll discuss about FOD versus OOD, that is function oriented design differentiated between object oriented design. What is the real requirement of function oriented design, object oriented design? We have already discussed. We'll thoroughly discuss in this Unit 3. Got it? We'll also discuss about features of OOD, object oriented design. Because nowadays, moreover, systems are developed using the concept of object oriented designing strategy. using object-oriented programming languages. So we should know what are the benefits, features of object-oriented designing constructs. Got it? And also we'll discuss about the object-oriented design diagrams. The object-oriented design diagrams are mentioned in the UML diagrams, Unified Modeling Language diagrams. We'll discuss about those diagrams also here. Got it? So let's start our first topic, that is requirements, analysis and specification. In requirements, analysis and specification, we can make ourselves clarified that a system's real information representation need to be done here. How we can understand a system, how we can find the errors to be committed inside the system, what are the real requirements for the system, and how the system can be developed properly. We can know from this part, because here the customer is providing its real thoughts. The customer is reflecting its requirements to the developer, so that the developer will use it inside the system for creating a good automatized system for the user. Got it? It is the second phase of the software development process. When it is started, when your preliminary investigation is completed and feasibility study action is carried out, and your feasibility study report gives a statement that the system is ready to be developed, the system is confirmed to be developed, the development requirements for the system are to be satisfied by the developer. Whatever the customer really needs, those can be converted into an automatized software. When it is confirmed, then the software development, software requirement analysis and specification phase is carried out. If the feasibility test report says that the software cannot be developed by the developer, then the second phase of the actions will not be carried out. Otherwise, the action will be carried out, that is your software requirement analysis and specification. In this page, we'll discuss about the customer requirements and identify its real needs for the system and systematically organize the requirements of the customer in a specification document. Why we need a documentation? The need also we have discussed. To make your ideas more clear, I want to make you understood what is the document. A document is that which can be prepared in order to view at any time regarding the system's requirements, regarding the customer's ideas, regarding the customer's views, regarding the developer's suggestions. Whatever things have been discussed, we can identify from the document. The document is the reflection of the customer's needs and the developer's thoughts, and the commitment between the customer and the developer. What the customer said to the developer, what the developer committed to do inside the system. All those things can be kept in the document. And in the document, whatever informations are mentioned can be useful for all other users of the system development process also, like your designers, coders, testers, maintenance engineers. Everybody will look at the document in order to find out whether any requirement of the customer has been left behind or not. If any of the requirements specified are going to be missed, then the system will be incorrect. and at last the implementation process will be failed. So in order to prohibit such problems, the document is highly required to be prepared. Got it? So the carefulness to be played while performing in this phase is very important. We must be very careful while collecting requirements from the customer. We should be very careful. We are properly asking questions to the customer in order to know about the system properly. We have to be more careful whether anything the customer is going to be leave at the discussion moment. After that, he is going to think about that. The developer should have a clear concentration while collecting the requirements and making analysis on it, so that the information really to be processed inside the system will be identified. Otherwise, there may be difficulties in the system development process if any of the informations became left behind. When your information from the customers are properly collected and reflected inside the document, then there will be less possibility of making changes inside the system again and again, performing recycling of activities again and again, not reaching the customer satisfaction at any moment. This type of problems also will be removed. When the requirements are collected and analyzed, it makes the developer also benefited, that he can clearly understand what the customer really needs, whether the customer is going to be satisfied by the system. Any of the difficulties from the developer side will be removed if the requirement analysis and specification phase is carefully carried out. Got it? What is the importance of this particular stage? When the information are collected from the customer and reflected in a document, there are two activities carried out. The first activity is your requirements gathering and analysis, and second one is your requirement specification. We have already discussed about these points. Requirements gathering means collection. Collect the ideas from the customer, analyze, clearly understand the system's needs. After collecting each and every requirement of the user, process needs of the user, those need to be clearly identified by after doing analysis. After doing analysis, the gathered informations can be very clear to the developer what he have to do regarding prepare a good system for the user. If the analysis is not done properly, then the customer's need will be something, and the development will contain some other thing. Got it? That is the benefit of analysis. When the analysis is carried out, the difficulties, the ununderstanding things, and the customer acceptable ideas can be clearly reflected. Whichever drawbacks are supposed to come for the system can be easily notified. Got it? And the requirement specification is important. After analysis, everything will not be there in our mind or in our subordinate's mind till the process is completed or the system is submitted to the customer. So whatever information are collected and analyzed, those all information need to be noted down. When we note it down, then only it will be beneficial to perform the real actions to be carried out. The specification is very important. The specification provides the developer a document, and using the document, he can be confirmed what is his work, what is his responsibility, what he had to do for the customer, how he can provide his best for making the customer satisfied. Understood? Then cut to the requirements gathering phase and doing analysis. In requirements gathering and analysis part, what we had to do here, we had to collect the requirements in depth. We have discussions with the customer. Roughly the customer has given his ideas, but with the rough in discussions, we cannot reach at a point what we had to do for the system. In order to remove that problem, we had to collect the information regarding the system in depth. Okay, it gathers the requirements of the system to be developed, then analyze them to clearly understand their role towards the system. Got it? When the informations are gathered, then the developer can be confirmed what he had to do for the system. And the real need of this activity, the real aim of this activity is to remove the incompleteness and inconsistency features present in these requirements. We have identified about the requirement. We are going to notify the requirement and going to write a method for satisfying the requirement. But whether the requirement is fully reflected, whether the requirement is going to be completely executed, that incompleteness or inconsistency situation can be marked and removed at the analysis part. When we do analysis, this incompleteness will be removed. Any of the small mistakes we are going to make will be identified and suppressed. And inconsistencies, those are going to be occurred at the time of systems development, also can be identified. We can have a clear and thorough understanding of the system so that we can identify the incompleteness present in a particular method specified. And we can remove the inconsistencies going to occur. Got it? When the requirements are collected, what points we had to keep in mind? By making our mind set to answer such problems, we need to collect the customer's requirements. So what should be the idea in our mind? What is the real problem? What the customer want to do? What is his real need? Whether he is mentioning or specifying you properly or not. What is the real problem? What the work you have to do? That is the first question. That will be your first work for the system, first process for the system. So when you have identified about the problem, we have to find out why solution is important. The customer specified that it is his problem. Whether the problem is really exists, whether its solution is really needed or its solution is not needed. If it is identified that really this is the problem, then the answer for this problem is to be identified. Got it? And the next question is identifying possible solutions. For any problem, there are many solutions. Out of many solutions, one is the best solution. So which are the possible solutions? Out of that, which is the best solution to be applied for that particular problem? Need to be properly understood. Got it? Then identify the exact inputs, outputs for the system. When a problem is there in hand with us, then it is going to be worked as a process. It need a method to be carried out. When a method is to be carried out, it should be given certain inputs, and the inputs will provide certain outputs. And what are the real inputs and outputs for that particular problem to solve need to be collected here. Got it? So that your system requirements and its proper analysis can be performed. Then we'll find out the likely complexities. Those might arise while solving the problems. These are called as risks. To solve the particular method or to execute the particular process, what may be the complexities? What may be the difficulties? What may be the errors? What may be the faults that you are going to face? Those need to be identified. When the complexities are identified by the developer, then the problem is really going to be applied with a good solution, and it is going to be benefited for the customer. Got it? Identify the external hardware, software, and data interchange formats. In which format your information will be processed, those need to be identified. The external hardware, those will be required for the system or for that particular method. Some specific software need to be used for that or not. And how the interchange formats, data interchange formats to display the data and the reflection of the output or report will be really understood by the user or not. The data interchange formats need to be identified. The interfaces, those are going to be supported for converting the system's problem into the real solution is identified. Got it? When the solution of these points will be identified, the answer of these points will be identified, then your real set of requirements can be collected. Got it? So at the time of requirements collection, these points should be there in the developer's mind or the information collector's mind regard at the time of requirement collection and analysis. Got it? Next, when the analysis of requirements are performed, then we can do such actions through the following points. Observation of the existing system. If a particular system user wants is already present and the user want a upgraded system for that, then we had to analyze the existing system and the drawbacks of the system so that we can reach at the a real system that is to be beneficial for the customer. By observing the existing system, we can know about what is to be developed by the developer. If the work is done manually or by a small end software, that need to be analyzed at the beginning, so that you can know, the developer can know the customer's real problems, what he actually needs, what is his real problem that needs some solution. By analyzing the existing process of work, we can understand, the developer can understand what to be done for the system. Got it? Studying existing procedures. In which procedure his present work is performed, identify all that. Study all that. When the present procedures you will follow, you can know what more you can provide to the customer, so that he will be satisfied for the automated system you are going to provide. Next is discussion with your customer and end users. The assignment is given by somebody to you to develop the software. The user of the system may be a single customer or maybe a group of customers. So here you can say that who have given you the order is the customer, and who are going to use the system at their real places are called as the end users. Always the customer not only uses the system. You have to make discussion with the customer as well as with the end users, because the customer is the head of the organization or the team member of them. He may have certain ideas, or the real workers may have certain other ideas. So both the customer and the end users must be discussed in order to collect the information regarding the system. Got it? Otherwise, the system's real faults, the system's real solutions we cannot get. The developer cannot get. Analysis of what needs to be done when your product is going to be used by the user, what he wants in its system, what are the real needs, what to be provided for the system. The analysis on that work need to be performed. For the system, what we have to do, we have to analyze. Without analysis, we cannot properly reflect the requirements. Okay? These are the 4 actions at the time of analysis of the requirements you have to carry out. Got it? Understood regarding the point? Observing the system makes you the idea that what is the real problem the customer have and in which way he want a new software for him. By studying existing procedures, you can follow what the work he is doing presently and work your system will give to the user to be done. With the discussion of the customer and the end user, the bit by bit information regarding the system needs you can understand, and what need to be done for the system need to be properly analyzed in order to know about the system's functionalities very well. Otherwise, the system's operations, the system's functions, you cannot reflect properly in your mind. Got it? The next is when your requirements are gathered, whether those requirements are perfect or not. You can check out through some attributes. The attributes, those really identifies whether the requirements gathered are perfect or some more informations to be collected. How we can understand? Good interaction skills. With good interaction skills, the developer can completely collect the information from the customer or the end user. If there are some small set of interactions are there, very less communication mediums are there in order to deal with the customers or the end users with the developers in order to understand the system, then there may be many faults, many unidentified requirements, many incompleteness will be there in the system. So with a good interaction skill, the clear and whole information regarding the system can be collected. So if a good interaction skill is applied in order to collect the information, then you can say that the information gathered are perfect. Got it? Imagination and creativity. When you are dealing with the customer, in order to collect the information from it, then at that time you can make any of the imaginative and creative ideas inside that. so that your imagination, your thoughts, and your creative questions can make the customer or the end user to say all his thoughts, all his ideas to you. So with your creative questions, you can clearly gather the informations from the customers. Got it? And next is the experience. EXPERIENC, experience. Your experience is very important in order to know the customer's ideas very well, gather the informations very well. If an expert has been sent to collect the information, who has experience priorly to collect the customer requirements very well in a creative and imaginative way, you can rely on those requirements perfectly. Undoubtedly, the collected informations will be perfect and going to provide a good system to the user. So the experience can say that the gathered informations are all well to be developed. Got it? Next, the steps of requirements gathering. In which way you are going to collect the information. Okay? In the methods, those you have to follow one by one in order to collect the requirements from the customers very well. First, studying the existing documents. In which way the customer is doing his work, in which way the end users are doing their actions for making their work satisfied, whether they are using any manual ways or they are using certain Word Excel documents or they are using some software, in which way they are doing the work, watch out, read out, verify the documents. Study all the existing documents regarding the system, those are available. Because a particular customer is doing some work, when he feels some difficulty in doing the work manually or with an old system, then only he will come to the developer to provide an order for a new system. At the same time, they may have many information processing documents. You have to go through all those existing documents so that you can have the idea that in which way and how the customer is doing his work. And those things you have to add in your system in a more sophisticated way, in a more satisfied way, so that the automatized system will be highly beneficial for the customer. So without studying the existing documents, you cannot get that idea for your system to be prepared. Got it? When you have watched his ledgers, you have watched his bills, or you have watched his day-to-day activities. Suppose, for example, you will go for a library automation system to be prepared. In the present time, the library automation system may have certain manual books in which manual ledgers in which the books have been entered inside it. Book names, book author names, price, and when it has been purchased, and what is the present moment, from how long years the book is going to be used. All those information will be there. There will be a book number also. The book number will confirm that the book is unique and not going to be overlapped with any book else. So the existing documents will contain all those informations. So regarding the library automation system, we have to check out the existing ledgers in which the book details are there, purchase details are there, issue register is there, return register is there. Whenever somebody issues some book, he must have returned it Sunday. If he has not written in a particular date, then what action have been taken out on that particular person? All those things will be written on those documents. By looking at those points, you can easily understand what the customer is really performing and what you have to provide in your system in an automatized manner. Got it? Then interview. By looking at the documents, you cannot be always clear what are his real problems, what the difficulty he is facing, what he really needs in his automatized system, whether he want to do his work as a standalone basis or as an online basis. These all things you can understand and know very well by interviewing method. So you have to fix interviews between the developers so that you will collect the information regarding the systems perfectly. The interviews need to be fixed with the customers or with the end users part by part. You can directly contact to the person who have given you the contract, or you have made discussions with the persons who are the real operators and doing the work manually. So by interviewing, by face-to-face discussions, by the real information sharing process, you can clearly understand the system's needs very well. In case of a library automation system, you have to fix interview with the librarian so that he will give you all ideas regarding his present situation, in which way he works, in which way he wants a software to get. The interview will make that problems answered. Got it? Next is the task analysis. In any system, there are many number of tasks that those are going to be executed. And whenever a system is going to be developed, at first we are dividing the whole system into number of tasks or modules. Previously, we have discussed this point many times. Whenever a system is to be completely prepared, perfectly have a solution on that, we have to modularize the system into number of small tasks. And each and every task need to be separately executed. So the task analysis is a very important point in which your informations can be converted into the real task, and for each and every task, what you have to perform. For example, for a library automation system, you may have a issue book service or issue book task. And for that task, the steps you may require is authenticate the user who is going to issue the book. Then check the number of books issued to the customer previously, whether it is not exceeded his maximum number of books as a limit he can take. If it crosses, then he will not be issued further books. If it has not crossed, he can be issued the books. After the confirmation only, you can issue the book. Check whether the book has been reserved for somebody else or not. If the particular book required by the customer is free to be provided, then only it can be provided. It must be also confirmed. Then post the book issue details in the members record. When it is confirmed that the user is really eligible to get a book and the book he requires is also free to be issued, and he is also an authenticated library member to take the book, then only he will be issued. And the task analysis will make all this type of problems, all this type of points to be identified while executing a particular task. Got it? Then is your scenario analysis. Scenario specifies what? The type of actions or the type of services those are going to be provided, or the type of operations those are going to be provided for a particular system. For example, you will go for your library automation system, different scenarios of your task may occur. And if for different types of scenarios of a task, the behavior of the system can be different. When the scenario changes, the behavior of the system also changes. As per the scenario, it will reflect the result. For example, different scenarios for a book issue task. For a library automation system, you can think about like a book issue service is satisfactorily performed and the book issue slip is printed. when a book issue service is going to be carried out, it must be satisfactorily executed. The big book issue has no problems. It will be issued after the confirmations. There should not be any break, fault in that. And when the book is issued, a book issue slip has been reflected or provided to the user. It should be also confirmed. This is first scenario. Another one you can say the book is reserved and cannot be issued to the member. If the book is not available, then you can say that the book is reserved for somebody else, and the particular user requiring for that particular book cannot be provided to him. So this is another scenario. The maximum number of books that can be issued by the member is exceeded, and the book cannot be issued to that particular member. This is another scenario. When a particular scenario is to be executed, then only the action will be carried out for that purpose. So here for a book issue work, you may have these three cases. In either of the one case or in either of the one scenario, the action will be carried out. Got it? In similar way, various tasks analyzed can provide different scenarios for different actions to be carried out. Got it? Then form analysis. There are different forms to be analyzed to determine the data inputs to the system, and the data those to be reflected as output for the system. Whenever a particular system is executed in a particular interface, we are input our data, and as a report we get our output. So we have to be confirmed what is the form look like, what should be the form look like, so that the information need to be provided and the result need to be generated will be matched and perfect. Got it? So the input information and the output information is properly reflected or not, whether the forms designed for reflecting all the informations are perfect or not, we have to decide first. Got it? The form analysis will make you clear that whether the required input of the system and output of the system is to be processed very well. You can go for different cases for that. In a library automation system also you can get, there may be different input forms. In one form you have collected all the books available in the library and you have entered all the library books there. In another form, you can have a purchase of certain new books at some moment, and whichever books have been purchased, those all will be entered into the book list. And whichever books have been newly entered, those will be provided a new library number. And the existing library numbers and the new library numbers have been collaborated together, and a new seed will be generated in order to calculate the total number of books available. Okay, these are the two forms. Some other form, you can authenticate the library member. Whether the library member initiated for taking a book is an authenticated person or not, you can check there. If he is not an authenticated member, you can ask for registering, either by providing some money or by some authenticated views, like he authenticated points like he is a member of that particular college or school, he is liable to get free books or not. Accordingly, he will be registered, then he will be issued the books. This may be another form. Some another form you may have is that if a particular book, the user is queried for it, then the queried book will be accepted and checked whether it is available or not. If the queried book is available in the library and it has not been issued to anybody else, or the member who is asking for the book has not crossed its limit of taking the books, then only the book will be issued to him. Likewise, all the information will be carried out in the form. And when the form satisfies all these points very well, then he will be issuing the book. Otherwise, not. In some other form, the returned books will be mentioned there, and the existing book list will be upgraded with a new information. Suppose there are 500 books at a present moment, and one member have returned one book, then the updated book list will be 501, like this. In this way, many of the forms may be available, and those forms will be those forms need to be prepared at the beginning, at the time of creating the software by the developer. So if he'll go through all those information gathering modes very well, then only he can understand the system needs and reflect those in the requirements list. And accordingly, the specification document can be prepared. And when your informations are collected, the requirements have been analyzed, then you will make your points clear regarding the system's real needs. And when you will make your system's real needs understood, then your ambiguity or anomaly regarding the system, inconsistency or incompleteness problems will be removed. Okay, we will discuss about these points in our next class. So wait for the next class, in which some more points of requirement analysis and the benefit of doing requirement analysis, and after the requirement analysis, what you are going to get. Got it? Thank you. And whenever you have will face any doubt regarding the point, you can message or ask.